Hello everyone, in this demo I am going to show you what is a ViewState variable. As we know that HTTP is a stateless protocol and we are working completely on web application in which requests are sent to the server with the help of HTTP, that is nothing but hypertext transfer protocol. Now for example, I want to access a value on the same page between different postbacks. So how do I manage that? I can manage that with the help of ViewState variable. Now I'll double click on this button. Say I have text box 1, text box 2 and a button. Whenever I click this button, I want to add the values of these two text boxes. That's it, and I don't want to display them. I want to just add and keep the result with me. Now I'll write one more integer in this, one more number in this, and whenever I click the button, I want to add this value with the value that I got in this button click. That means in this button click it has undergone a postback and we get a result. I want to use that result in this button click. Means what? I want to carry a value from one postback to another postback on the same page. So we have n number of scenarios in our real-time projects where we need to carry a value from one postback to another postback on the same page. How do I do that? Now say I'll double click on this button and I'll read the values in integer x in dot parse text box 1 dot text dot toString. Copy this, paste, int z equals to, no, let me make it as y, and this is text box 2 and this is nothing but z equals to x plus y. Now I got the result in variable z. Now what I want is, whenever I click this button, that is another postback, I will access the value of text box 3, say int a, that is nothing but text box 3, and int b. In this I want to access this result, that is nothing but I want to access z. Can I access z here? No, I cannot access z here because that button click is a different postback and this button click is a different postback, and this is my server side code. So I cannot carry that value to this button or the value from that postback to this postback. Now what is the solution then? The solution is to use a ViewState variable. That means in my page load or in my first page load, I want to create a ViewState variable. So how do we track the first page load? We can track the first page load with the help of isPostback property. If isPostback equals to false, what is that I want to do? I want to create a ViewState variable. How do I create a ViewState variable? It is very simple. I will say ViewState dot add, say val comma its value, initial value is 0. It means I have created a variable. It is a key value pair. So val and say its value is 0. Now in this val I want to store the value set. So how do I store the value? I will say ViewState of val equals to z dot toString. That's it. That means I have stored the result in a ViewState variable. Now I can access the same variable in another postback. So I'll say in dot parse dot toString. So I'm not going to say access the value of text box 1, text box 2, add them and take that result. No, I have already performed the operation. So I may have connected to the database, and I have got few records, and I want to access those records here. So I cannot again connect to the database and get the same records in this button click. So what is that I can do? I can store all the records, and or you can say an array of objects in my ViewState variable, and I can access them here. So what is that I have done? My result is Z. I have stored Z in ViewState variable, and here I am accessing the value of that ViewState variable in B. Now I will say int C equals to A plus B, and I'll display the result to label 1 dot text equals to C dot to string. This is very simple. Now let us check this. I'll write 5 here and 10 here. Whenever I click this button, the result is 15. That has got calculated, and we have stored that result in ViewState variable. Now in this button click, what I want that 15 plus this 20. It is nothing but 35. It should display 35 in this label. That's it. So what is it I am doing? In my initial page load, I am creating the variable, and I am assigning a value to the variable. Then I am reading the value from the variable. It's very simple, like declaring a variable, assigning a value to the variable, and reading the variable. So it's very simple. So in this way I can use that. Now I will just try to simulate how I can store various kinds of objects in my ViewState variable. I'll create one more variable here. Say ViewState dot add, and I want to store an array in and I want to store array in this ViewState variable. Say its initial value is as well 0. Here I will declare an array of integer or whatever it may be. I can have an array of integer, I can have an array of a string, array of object, whatever I want. So I am taking an array of integer arr equals to 2, 6, 8, 5, 9 and 34. I have few elements in the array. Now I'll store this array in ViewState variable. So I'll say ViewState of array is equals to arr. That's it. I need not to say dot to string or something. Now I have stored this in an array. Now I want to retrieve all those things in another button click. Say in this button click. So how do I do that? Say array of integer some new array equals to, now I want to read this, so I will say ViewState of array. Now I need to typecast this. So how do I do that? I'll simply say array of integers. That's it. Now all these elements which I have stored in the array, now they got retrieved and they are in new array. Now I'll use for each loop to display them. That is of type int item in new array, and here I will say response dot write item plus, I'll take a br tag. That's it. So what is it I am doing? In this button click I am storing this complete array in ViewState variable, and in this button click I am trying to retrieve that array from ViewState variable. That means earlier we have stored a single variable, now I am storing an object. Array is nothing but an object, so I am storing it here. Save this, execute it. Write some numbers. Anyway, these things are not related to our current task. Now what happened? that array got stored in that ViewState variable. Now on this button click, I need to retrieve them and display all the elements of that particular array. So it is displaying all the elements of that particular array, 2 to 89, from 2 to 89. So in this way I can store any object in ViewState variable and I can retrieve them. Now after using this ViewState variable, we can free the memory occupied by this ViewState variable. ViewState variable occupies the client side memory, so we can also call it as client side state management technique. We are managing the state. So after using the ViewState variable, I can remove that. So I have used val ViewState variable here. Now I can remove that. How do I do that? I'll say ViewState dot remove, and I can give the name. Now I'll say remove val. Now val will no more be available for me to access in some other postbacks. Now in the same way, I'll say if I want to remove all the variables at once, I'll say ViewState dot clear. This is going to remove all the elements or all the ViewState variables that I have created on my page. So I can use ViewState.remove to remove a particular variable or to delete the memory occupied by a particular ViewState variable, or I can use ViewState.clear to free the memory occupied by all the ViewState variables of that particular page. So that's it. This is all about your ViewState variables. Thank you.